Greetings to you. I am here with a review of some 3D printed parts. The files for these parts were offered freely on the internet, and I printed them with my new Ender 3 printer. The parts were created by ED-SKaR, and I will have a link in the description as you would expect, and it's a whole set of things for the Rebelle Rapid Red. This blaster on the table was my primary for End War 2018, and it performed pretty well, but the main reason why ED-SKaR designed these parts, at least the ones that I've printed, the main reason he designed them is that basically, as you can see, some of the plastic on the Rapid Red does not take well to paint. So my trigger, which is obviously going to be one of the most used items on the blaster, the trigger has almost completely worn off any paint that I applied. The jam door has worn off a lot of paint as well, and so I thought we'd give these a shot. And this blaster is, as I said, it's a Rapid Red. I have affixed a Busby 8-round magazine to the side to use as a battery compartment holder, and I have also integrated I think this is a Raider handle in it, because the original handle on the Rapid Red is super small, so this is much more to my liking. I've already taken the screws out. Alright, so the first thing I'm noticing with the mag release that I printed from ED-SKaR is that the hole is fairly snug on this post. So I'm going to have to sand or drill down this main hole in the mag release. This is interesting. Even though the size of the internal part of the trigger replacement seems to be the same size as the original, somehow the spring won't fit on the ED-SKaR one, and it fits on the original. Curious. Alright, so I will have to sand that down too. One of the interesting things that ED-SKaR has done is he has released the main trigger with two possible button faces, I guess you'd call them, and I don't know yet which one I might prefer. What you're supposed to do is these print side by side, and then they come loose easily, and you're supposed to basically just super glue together whichever one you choose to use. So, at the very least, I can freely exchange those within the blaster until I choose. It comes off very easily too, of course. So I'm not sure if I sanded the printed part too much, but I don't know how well this will show up. Essentially, the original jam door is from here up, is essentially a straight up and down piece, and the ED-SKaR piece is curved a little bit more, so it's going to leave more of an opening. It's not straight here, it's actually kind of angled. So I will see how that looks when the whole blaster is together. Alright, for now, I need to do some lube. I need to do some sanding. I'm going to reassemble everything, and then we will come back when the blaster is reassembled. Alright, we're back, and let's give some thoughts on these parts. This jam door is very nice. Aesthetically, I'll be honest, there's a little bit of gap between the jam door and the shell, primarily at the front and a little bit at the back. That's really just aesthetics, and it's not very noticeable unless you're looking really closely. And honestly, the lines, the curves of this blaster had to be really hard to match. So I actually give ED-SKaR kudos for doing as well as that part does. It does click in nicely. That's very satisfying. I don't know if the button that this was designed with will depress an interior lock switch, because I do not have that lock switch. You probably figure that most people who have modded their blasters and want 3D aftermarket parts probably have removed that switch. This mag release button is great. I like it. I can't think of a single downside. Highly recommend it. Much, much better than the stock mag release switch. The main trigger, and keeping in mind that it was offered with 2 button styles, the main trigger is functional. I don't know that I can say anything really good or bad about it, but it does the job, and that's all that really matters. I think the greatest strength of the trigger is simply the fact that it is 3D printable, and you can do it in whatever color filament you want. So that's nice. And again, looking back at my stock main trigger, that really did not absorb. Actually, I think this was vinyl dye, not paint, so actual paint might have worked better, but as it is, that did not stand up well to abuse or use. So the last part that I used from this set is the rev trigger. Now, unfortunately, this is the one that didn't really work very well for me. I do have fairly large hands, fairly large fingers, and the amount of space that you have here, primarily due to the shape of the main trigger well, means that it's hard to get your middle finger on this rev trigger, or at least on all of it. Did not really have that issue with the stock rev trigger, and I might possibly go back to it. I might also try shaving this one down a bit. So the only real issue, is the size. It's kind of too big. For some people, that'll probably work just fine. So I definitely recommend checking out this set. ED-SKaR also included some sort of barrel and battery compartment extension for the front. It's interesting. I don't need it because I have this battery compartment on the side, but this blaster, probably its greatest limitation is interior battery storage. So definitely worth checking out if you are modifying or customizing a Rebelle Rapid Red. Well, I certainly thank you for watching, and I hope that this has been enlightening for you. I'll see you next time.